A very good evening, Namibia. Welcome to the Campfire series. This is episode 4. My name is Absai Haidua. I'm joined by Maggie Kashinamunene. She's our sign language interpreter. Tonight, we're talking to Christian Hess. But before we start, we are practicing our our distance, and we have sanitized our hands so we can safely remove our masks. Yeah, now I can. Great. Thank you and welcome to the Campfire series. This is episode 4. Tonight we are very excited to be chatting to our local creative carpenter, Christian Hess. He is a businessman in Namibia. He owns a company called Hess, which has been operating for the past 13 years. And he has been doing amazing work and with a wow factor. Thank you, Christian, and welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you, Absai, for having me here tonight.
All right. Our topic for tonight is above and beyond carpentry. Without any further ado, let's get to see what is above and beyond in the carpentry industry. So, Christian, what is I hear everything you touch turns to gold. So can you tell us about yourself and what type of work you do?
Okay, at the moment I must tell you nothing touches to gold or turns to gold, and it happens in the past that something also turns into firewood.
Oh.
But yeah, at the moment it's quite challenging times for the company and business. But otherwise, I'm very proud on the company I got here in Namibia, which we built up in the last 13, 14 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, great. How has the journey been so far?
Yeah, the journey was superb. Yeah, I started here in the year 2000.
Okay.
I traveled around the world for 5 years, and one of the last countries I visited was Namibia. And I worked in Walvis Bay, Swakopmund, for a long time. And I traveled between Walvis Bay and Germany, met many in carpentry.
Yeah.
And then in 2007, I decided to come to Namibia and try to open up a business.
Great. Yeah. Okay, so you do carpentry. I would like to know, how do you describe please describe carpentry in a layman's term.
Okay, carpentry means, so we work with timber. All we do is timber construction.
Yeah.
We're doing roof construction, staircases, bridges. So we don't actually in furniture and cabinets, which is more joinery related, and windows. So we are more on construction. And since we are here in Namibia and we don't have timber growing here, or construction timber, so we import everything. We started importing from South Africa, importing from Germany, and as we only could source some small dimensions. We started several years ago to laminate our own beams.
Okay.
And
let me stop you there.
Yeah.
So when you say to laminate your own beam, how do you mean?
I mean, we buy the raw material, which are timber boards, and they are normally 4 or 5 meter long.
Okay.
So we join them together with a finger joint machine with glue. We cut a shape on it, press it together, and then these lengths, they are maybe 4, 5 or 6 lengths. We glue them on top of each other to form a beam.
Okay.
And this beam can have any length. And with this laminating process, we are very successful. And for the last 6-7 years, we only produce our own timber. We only buy raw material.
Okay, great. Yeah. So that takes me to another question that I would like to know, what is the difference between, because I'm sure there is also someone there that doesn't really know the difference between carpentry and joinery. So could you maybe explain to us or tell us what the difference is?
Okay. you know, I make myself some enemies now. If I say the carpentry, we are working with real timber.
Yeah.
And the joiners are mostly working with chipboard and super wood. But that's not really true. But the joiners are more, if the house are almost finished, those guys coming in. They're doing the furniture, windows, doors, cabinets. And we are more construction related. So we're doing the roof construction, the heavy timber work. Yeah.
Okay.
Most stuff we do is load bearing. So if like a roof, it must hold roof tiles, sink, weather, all the climate. Yeah.
Okay. So how long have you been a carpenter, and what inspired you to start?
Okay. This is a long time ago.
Yes, please tell us about it.
I grew up in Germany, and with the age of 15, I decided school was enough. Enough school done, and
did you drop out?
No. I finished after 9 years.
Okay.
And I had my examen, and I was looking around what to do. And in Germany, those times we didn't have internet at all, so you couldn't get information on professions.
Yeah.
So there was a truck from the government.
Yeah.
We were traveling around the country.
Yeah.
And you could go in the truck. It was from the Ministry of Education, I think. You could go in and you could see some movies of professions you were interested in. So I watched some movies, carpentry, also joinery, roofing, and I actually ended up in carpentry. This was very interesting to me and very fascinating.
Yeah.
Those guys building up roof constructions, and it's the carpentry profession is very got a lot of tradition in Germany, in terms of clothing, and you maybe heard if the roof is built up on top of the building, they do a roof vetting. A roof vetting.
Vetting. Okay.
There's a Thanksgiving to God the Father, that nobody get hurt while we were building. There will be a small party and all of that. You know, that makes the carpentry itself. There's a lot of tradition. And then I found a company in my surrounding area where I could get educated to a carpenter.
Yeah.
And this education takes 3 years time.
Yeah.
And while you are working in the company, you go. You have a week or 2 weeks in a month where you go to a school.
Yeah.
Where you learn the theoretical basics.
The basics of how to.
In the profession, calculating, drawing, which makes 90% of all the things I'm doing today.
Okay.
I draw the whole day and do the drawings, calculating. And when I finished after the 3 years, with 18, I started this old tradition and started traveling around the world. We call it in German Wanderschaft.
Yeah.
You travel for at least 3 years and 1 day.
Yeah.
Working in different companies all over. You can go all over the world to making practice.
Is that to gain to practice and gain experience? Or?
Yes, because every company works differently.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's everything, and you can pick up while you're working there.
Yeah, it's true.
So you get more experience while you're traveling.
Yeah.
Yeah, with people, with work, with everything.
Yeah.
And we had a great time. A lot of parties. You know, you didn't have to work every day. You could decide, okay, we're working 2 days, and now we're going with the money and making party for 2 weeks. You know, or something like that.
So it was all work and fun.
Yes.
Great.
And we didn't have money.
Yeah.
We had no money. When we were working, we earned our money, and then we go on. We traveled from that money.
Yeah.
Let's say you buy a ticket for ship, and then you ship over to South America. You know, I've been all over in every continent except Australia and the Arctic region, and worked there.
Yeah. Now, you talked about you watched. I forgot the word you mentioned, but you talked about you watching videos or should I say tutorials or
no,
not tutorials,
they were explaining the different professions, like what does a bricklayer do, a roofer, a joiner. You could even watch movies about reporters, or let's say salesmen selling women's underwear, which were we also watching because we were 15. That was the age, but you could actually see a movie about anything.
So that was the way of career guidance in back then.
Yes, okay. That was the only thing we had because we didn't have internet.
Yeah.
We didn't know actually what is a roofer doing, or in the industry, someone who is working with steel, and you could get input from this videos when you were watching that stuff.
Cool. All right. If you're just joining us, you're watching a Campfire series. This is episode 4. A very warm welcome to you, and thank you for joining us. Before we continue with Christian, I just want to tell you about Startup Namibia. Startup Namibia is here to improve the conditions and informations and growth of startups in Namibia. This project is a joint Namibian-German technical cooperation for the sustainable economic development, and it's funded by the German government, and it's implemented by the GIZ of Industrialization and Trade, Ministry of Higher Education, Innovation and Technology and Innovation, and the city of Windhoek. We are located in the Bokamoso Incubation and Innovation Center here in Katutura, and we also have components which are mobile outreach, which will also go out to selected 4 regions in the country to do the same thing that we are doing here in Windhoek, still improving the lives of startups and really getting them out or getting them up started with their businesses. Back to the interview, Christian. I just want to know, when you started your business, you told me you've been watching videos, and then that's how you got that.
How you come into carpentry?
Into carpentry, yes. So tell me, how did you just start with the idea of you? I want to do.
Okay. Before I started with the idea to become an employer.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I were working.
So you started being an employer first.
Yes,
before
of course.
You started
of
doing
course. Because
your own
you cannot. In my opinion, you can't start a company if you are not educated enough or you don't have enough experience. Because this will cost you a lot of money at the beginning. Yeah. So I were working. I finished with the age of 18 carpentry, and then I traveled and I worked, and I started 2007. That must be around 9 years. Yeah, 9 years of experience in carpentry before I started.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Because in today's world, I'm talking now from experience, we don't even work for that long, for that 5 years. We work for maybe 5 years and
then you change the profession. But I said, before I started, I worked for a boss.
Yeah.
And, the time, and I got the client, I started the job from scratch up to the end. And the only thing my boss has done was writing the invoice to the client.
So you were one of those sharp employees.
Yes, and I managed to have 2 or 3 different sites.
Yeah.
And then I told myself, this is the time, then I can do it myself. The only thing I need to add is bookkeeping. Yeah. And write the invoice at the end.
Invoices.
Okay.
Okay.
And I think this is I think this is very important.
Yeah.
That you, on the other side, if you are that good and you are a foreman like that, your boss will come to you and will offer you more salary, and then you must decide. If you know, because you run the show.
Yes.
From start to the end.
Yeah.
But if you